I wanted to talk a little bit about heat in dogs, and it's a wonderful California day, and you can see from the thermometer it's in the 80s. So what seems like it would be just a wonderful temperature for your dog to be out in, you can is misleading because dogs can get overheated. A dog like Luke here, he's a German Waterhair pointer, and they evaporate moisture from their nose, and that's why their nose is always nice and wet. In fact, if a dog's nose is wet and cold, it means they're evaporating water. That's why the myth is, or what's the saying, is when a dog's nose is dry, they're sick, because sometimes a dog can be dehydrated and their nose will be dry and hot, and they might not be sick, but they might just be dehydrated or have a fever. So that's one that's one place dogs lose moisture or cool themselves down. Another thing they will do is sweat through their pads a little bit. And another thing they'll do is pant. And as they pant, the moisture is lost from their tongue and their gums. And anytime water evaporates, it cools the dogs. It cools animals. When we sweat due to heat, the moisture cools our skin and our body temperature. But dogs don't do that. They don't sweat through their skin glands. They just evaporate through their nose, their pads, and lose moisture by panting. So let's go out front. I want to talk about a few things to watch out for on a hot day with your dog. A couple of things to think about when you're going to take your dog for a walk and it's hot is that the cement, and well, the cement over here and the blacktop over here radiate heat up. So if your dog's got a lot of hair, or is this like a pug or a bulldog, they're going to be very close to this ground that's very hot. And if I can put my hand on this ground, I can feel it's very hot. It's probably above 100 degrees. A dog can walk on hot pavement because they have pads. But some dogs have thinner pads than others and thinner calluses, and they may burn their pads. Bulldogs and smaller dogs, boxy dogs, don't have the ability to get rid of heat as well, so they overheat very easily. So that's very, very important, as well as older dogs tend to overheat very easily. So always take into consideration where you're walking. If you're walking near a creek or through the grasses, it's going to be a lot cooler than if you're walking here in the sun. Also, if you're walking in the shade in the hills, that's going to be a lot better than walking in open territory in the hot sun. So you'd think on a day where it's 85 degrees, that would be a good day for, and not a problem, good day for dogs to be out. You could put them in a car and wouldn't have a big problem. But any car in the sun can be very hot. Let's take a look. So you can see it's about 83 degrees outside. That's the outside temperature from my car temperature gauge. The inside temperature is about 110. And you can see Luke's already starting to pant. We're going to take Luke's temperature to start. And as you can see, it's starting at 101.3, which is about a normal dog's temperature. So after 10 minutes in the car with the temperature 83 outside, and inside the car it's climbed to about 108 degrees. And you can see Luke is now actively panting. He's open mouth panting with his tongue hanging way down. You can see the water just dripping from his tongue. And he's really trying to stay cool. You can tell when he pants, not only is his tongue hanging way out, but he's really moving some air. And after 20 minutes, it's climbed to 104 degrees. So when a dog is really hot, they start to pant like this, and then they will actually start to pant so hard and move so much of move their chest and start to look labor breathing that it just appears like it's just what they're focusing. They'll actually not pay attention to anything else. They'll just sit there and pant really hard. So if you think your dog's gotten hot, is panting real hard, is having trouble breathing, and you think it's overheated, you can always get a temperature a thermometer, like I showed you, and take their temperature. If the temperature is above, if it's around 101.5 degrees, up to 103, they're probably fine. But when in doubt, and before you rush them off the vet if they're overheated, I want you to make sure and cool them down as quickly as you can. And the best way to do that, and you can do this without hesitation. In fact, if it's a hot day and you want to give your dog, you want to cool them down after a nice walk, just turn on the hose and then let the water run out of it because you know how it can be hot. And then just cool them down. Just cool them down just as quick as you can. And then if you say you're near a house and you've just come up to this house and you've used their hose, ask them if they have an ice pack. A lot of people have first aid ice packs. And you want to put that in the core temperature. You want to put that in the core temperature. I'm going to put that in the core temperature. You want to put that in the core area of the dog. This means not in the extremities because there's not a lot of heat loss here. But if you really want a dog to lose heat, you would put it underneath in their belly area. Now, lay down, lay down. You're dying of heat stroke. So you want to put ice, you can either put him in a bathtub and stack ice around his core area. Mainly concentrate on getting ice in all this area. That will cool down a dog the fastest. If you don't cool down a dog's core, and the temperature stays high in this area, then what will happen would be it'll bake the kidneys and bake the intestines. In fact, that's what happened to a bulldog I'm going to show you in a few minutes. He came in with 109-degree fever. People brought him in. They didn't know all this treatment. They didn't know to wet him down. They didn't know to try to cool down his body temperature. Even though they were a short distance away, that high temperature of 109 plus caused so much damage of his intestines and so much damage to his intestines that even though he survived the initial heat stroke episode, he was blind, he was out of it, but the next day he kind of came around, and then a day later, the next day came around, and that's when it went into shock because his intestines were so damaged, and he ended up passing away. So I just wanted to tell you that if you think that your dog, or anybody's dog, say you're just with somebody that has a dog, they've been out on a hot day, they've been running in the open pastures or on trails and out in the sun, and they're panting uncontrollably, and maybe they go down or they drag in their hindquarters and just look like they don't have any energy to get up. You've been walking, somebody's been walking their dog out on the roads or the levees or a path out in the sun, and they're also having trouble. Please wet them down as soon as possible and put ice on them. You're not going to hurt a dog. The only thing that you might do is it's nice to take the temperature. In fact, we're going to take Luke's temperature again. And I wipe this off every time I put it in my pocket. So for those of you that think I'm just putting a rectal thermometer in my pocket without wiping it off, I'm not doing it. So we're going to take Luke's temperature, and we're going to see what it is now after we've cooled him down, because it went up to 104. So it's 99, 102.5, 102.6, 102.6, 102. So it's come down 1.5 degrees with this wetting down and ice packing his core. I think, Luke, I think you're going to live. Isn't that good? But I have to tell you, the reason why I was so driven to do this video is when I lost that bulldog and he came in with 109 temperature, and the poor father came down later to see the dog on IV fluids and everything, and the son was devastated, and it tore me up because he thought he was doing a good thing. He was out exercising his dog, and we all love our dogs so much, and I just don't want anybody's dog to die because they're trying to do a good thing by taking it out taking it out to exercise. But remember, don't ever put your dog on a chain in the sun. Don't ever. Luke says, "I'm healed now." Well, that's nice. Well, I was hot anyway. You're a good boy. So he said, "Don't ever leave your excuse me. Don't ever leave your dog on a chain in the hot sun. Don't take it for walks on a hot day, especially on asphalt or cement. Don't put it in the car, even though you think it's a mild day. You can see on a day like today where the temperature is only 83 degrees or 83 to 85, it can climb up to 105 in the car. And you saw that. You saw how in 10 to 20 minutes how a dog's temperature can rise from 101 and a half clear up to 104 and a half. And you can imagine if he'd been in there for another 20 minutes, it might be in the danger zone, which is 106. One of the most important things we do when a dog comes in is we immediately cool them down. And we know that they have heat stroke. We take their temperature. This proposed temperature was above 109. The most important thing is to wet them down and get ice on them and then start the IV fluids. We give them shots of cortisone to stabilize their membranes. That's dexamethasone. We give immediately 10 to 20 milligrams. We give them a whole bunch of IV fluids. When they're first in shock, the best thing you can do is cool them down and just administer IV fluids just as fast as you can. He got 3 to 4 liters.
The best way to do that is to stick as much ice as you can on the ventral abdomen. That's where the heat is held up, and then you put fans on them and keep the water running to get the temperature down. IV fluids are used to maintain the vascular system, and the shot of cortisone is to stabilize all the membranes. The temperature's gone from 109 to 106 in about 15 minutes.
So you can see we're using fans to continually cool him down, and we got to keep changing the ice packs in the core area. His temperature is now about 105.
He's starting to come out of it, but he's still kind of, he's starting to, at least his temperature came down to around 101, but now he doesn't know where he is, so he's just vocalizing. So a couple hours after he was treated, he's trying to look around, but he just doesn't have a lot of reactions, because you can see he's looking, but I'm not sure he's seeing. His color's really good. His color's nice and pink. It's not bluish. It's not too pale. He doesn't have petechiae in it. So, and he doesn't like that, which is good. So he knows what's happening now. It's about 2 hours after he came in with 109 temperature. Well, here he is this morning, the hot dog, and he wants to drink a little bit. He's got bloody diarrhea. Oftentimes when the gut heats up like that and the body heats up like that, it can disturb it and inflame it. So now he's not in danger of dying from the heat clotting his blood, throwing clots. He's in danger of secondary infection and ulcers. So we're going to give him Serenia to protect his gut. Metronidazole is an antibiotic. Baytril is an antibiotic. And we'll offer him a little food and see how he does.
Please watch your dogs if they're in the hot sun, especially if they're boxers, bulldogs, pits, or one of the short-faced dogs. Beware of older dogs out in the sun too. They get overheated easy. When you're even suspicious of any dog being overheated, immediately wet them down and apply ice. Rest in peace, Bo. I'm sorry about that. Sorry about not being able to save you. Have a good day. Check out Dog Dish Diet if you can. Thanks.